The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Sky Valley Fire, Washington, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 35451. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation. Let's start at the front bumper area. Just under the front bumper, you'll find tow hooks located on the passenger and driver's side frame rail. On the face of the bumper, you'll find an air horn, electronic siren, and PA speaker. Moving up to the tubbed location in between the bumper extension, dry deck material, tub storage location, swivel discharge, and Velcro tie. Moving up to the headlight structure, low and high beam. High beam is located on the inside, turn indicator, and also emergency warning light. 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. As we move to the side of the bumper extension, a side-facing emergency warning light. You also have on the A-pillar a marker turn indicator. Let's move to the stepwell on the driver's side. In the stepwell, you'll find your air inlet location. Let's go ahead and move up from this location to the mirror area where you'll find a flat and convex mirror. As you reach to the door handle, it can easily be accessible with a gloved hand, and it is also a keyed lock. We do have a grab handle at all points of entry. Also right next to this location is where you'll find your shoreline inlet. It is an auto eject plug, 20 amp. Let's move inside the driver's space. Let's first start with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, you'll find all of our safety and warning information, door lock and latch, and also grab handle. You'll also find the manufactured placard from Pierce for your department. It's going to be the yellow placard on the left-hand side, and we'll go over that next. Let's go ahead and take a look at the placard. This is going to house information for your department on the type of vehicle, date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, VIN number, fluid capacities, fluid types. Let's move now inside to the cab area for the driver's space. At the base of the seat is where you'll find your auto charge system. When plugged into shore power, the battery voltage indicator will illuminate, indicating the status. Let's move to the seat area where you'll find comfort controls, forward and backwards, air ride seat up and down. Let's go ahead and move now to about the left knee of the operator where you'll find the master battery switch. It is the yellow switch on the left. As we move to the right, you'll find a green plug. This is the J1939 and also diagnostic information plug for your maintenance team. As we move down, you'll find DPF region information and also diagnostic engine information. Let's move now from this location to the upper right-hand side of the steering column where you'll find your pump shift. We'll go over that in just a moment. As we move to the left-hand side of the steering column, you'll find the hazard and ignition switch. Also a switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. It will engage and disengage all emergency lights. Headlight and panel switch. To the dash on the left-hand side, you'll find the transmission oil, DEF level, and water temp. On the right-hand side, you'll find the volts, fuel, front and rear air. Directly in the center, you'll find the tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information displays above and also below the speedometer. Let's move back down to the pump shift. It's going to be about the right knee of the operator. And this is the instructions on the placard for road to pump, and then also instructions from pump to road. You do need 2 green indicators, pump engaged and OK to pump for pump operations. As we move just to the right of this location, you'll find the main mirror and convex mirror control for the passenger and driver's side. And then as we move up, you'll find the OK to engage the high idle switch and indicator. Just to the right of the steering column, you'll find your backup camera monitor, windshield wiper control, some switches indicating the engine brake on-off switch, settings for low, medium, and high, mirror heat, and load manager. Just beneath that, you'll find the yellow diamond, which is the pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. And then just to the right of that, you'll find the Allison transmission pad with the digital readout. In the upper right, you'll find your climate control for heat, defrost, and air conditioning. Let's move overhead of the operator. You'll find this black placard. indicating the height of the vehicle, length of the vehicle, and gross vehicle weight rating. You also have a set of switches: emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. When any of these switches have been depressed, the green indicator will illuminate within each switch. Let's move just to the right. We have an additional set of switches, starting first on the left with the front flood, driver's side, passenger side, deck lights, a future switch location, air horn, electric horn switch. Let's move just to the right of the set of switches where you'll find the module for your siren and PA speaker system. As we move to the very center area, you'll find seatbelt information, red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted, green indicating they are in the seat and belted. There also is a red flashing light indicating do not move your apparatus. You may have a compartment door open or ajar. Located in the center overhead is your air conditioning vents. Also, over each seated position, you'll find a push on and off white or red lens light. Moving to the rear cab, you'll find 2 rear-facing Scba seats and 1 single seat on the rear wall. Let's move exterior, where you'll find Alcoa wheels, Goodyear tires, and a visual sight gauge indicator in the center axle area. You'll also find your auto eject plug. Moving to the rear section, easily accessible once again, grabbed handle, your door latch, and also grab handle. Moving up to the upper rear portion of the cab wall on the side, you'll find a side-facing scene light. Let's move inside to the rear section of the cab where you'll find affixed to the door panel all of our safety and warning information placards, door lock and latch, manual window controls, and a grab handle. You'll also find at the hinged side of the door a red grab handle for gaining access in and out of the cab. They're on the passenger and also on the driver's side. Also located within inside the cab, you'll find 2 rear-facing seats that do have Scba inserts. You'll also find on the rear wall an additional forward-facing Scba seat. Overhead, air conditioning vents. As we move down to the bottom floor area, you'll find 2 heater vents, one on the passenger and one on the driver's side. As we move to the center, you'll find a lift and turn latch will gain you access into your daily checks for oil and transmission. Let's move exterior now to the pump panel area. We'll start just underneath the diamond-plated step area, first with perimeter lighting located just under this area. As we move up from this location to the pump panel, let's identify a few items within the lower section of the pump panel. First, start down at the lower left-hand side with a drain valve. This is the driver's side auxiliary inlet. Let's move now to the right-hand side where you'll find the pressure hazard warning placard. Caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Also, the minimum operation maintenance schedule placard. As we move down, you'll find the driver's side auxiliary inlet. It is a 2.5-inch ball valve female inlet. As we move to the right, you'll find your warning regarding only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment. It's the placard located directly in the center. And then just to the right, you'll find your manual pump shift. And beneath that, you'll find your watch wrist placard indicating the type of transmission and pump that you have. Let's move to the very far right. You'll find your pump drain. Behind the Pierce logo American flag eagle cap, this is your large diameter pump inlet. And then to the far left, you'll find the 2.5-inch discharge. Let's move up to the next section here where you'll find your valves and also moving up to the very top section, we'll start with the valve location for driver's side number 1 and driver's side number 2. Moving further up, you'll find crosslay 1, crosslay 2, and 2.5-inch crosslay. As we move just to the right, you'll find the minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 psi. This has information regarding the GPM associated with test pressure and also the RPM associated with that test pressure. Let's move slightly downward where you'll find a wheel valve, which is going to be for your large diameter passenger side discharge. There is an open and close indicator inside the valve area. You'll also find the water tank LED indicator for the amount of water in the tank. Moving just to the right, engine cooler. This is a twist, not a pull. And then the tank fill and recirculating line and tank to pump valve. You'll also find your fire pump primer. It is a push-to-prime air prime with instructions for priming, at least 1,000 RPM for best practices. We'll find the deluge discharge, front discharge, and rear driver's side discharge. And also we have some switches, panel lights, and also an indicator for OK to pump. Let's go to the Pierce pressure throttle governor. In the upper left-hand corner, if illuminated, it would be yellow in color. It's a check engine light. Just to the right, you'll find a red, if illuminated, stop engine light. Digital readout for the RPM. The orange is the menu button, allowing you to scroll through the various menu functions. You also have engine diagnostic information located in the center area, along with a red silence button, which will silence the audible alarms. As we move down, we have two buttons, either pressure or RPM. Those are the two options for your pressure throttle governor. In the very center, you'll have a digital readout, and then to the right, you have a green indicator indicating throttle ready. You'll also find a green preset button, which allows you to preset either pressure or RPM positions. And then to the right, you'll find the idle button and throttle control. Moving further to the right, you'll find an audible alarm. The outer edge of that speaker does allow you to dampen the sound of the audible. Let's move up from this location and slightly to the right where you'll find two gauges. These are the master gauges, your master intake gauge on the left, which is your pump intake, and the master discharge gauge, which is your pump discharge. Located in the center are the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They are currently plugged and are utilized for testing purposes. Let's move all the way up to the top to the crosslays. Once again, crosslay 1, crosslay 2, and also a 2.5-inch crosslay. As we move to the upper portion, you'll find a drop-down step, and then also at the very upper portion, you'll find a grab handle. Let's look to the vertical side sheet of the bodies where you'll find all the fold-down steps for gaining access to go aloft to the upper portion of the dunnage area. Let's go ahead and move now to the rear section of the body. Directly over the rear axle is where you'll find a emergency warning light side-facing. In front of the axle, you'll find your marker turn indicator light. As we move inside the compartments, you'll find LED lighting, adjustable shelving, and ventilation. In this compartment, you have at the lower section a pull-out tray. The release mechanism will be located on the lower right portion. This is going to be the marker light just in front of the axle. As we move to the front axle area, once again, directly over the marker light, Scba bottle storage and DEF fill location. 2 bottles, retaining straps, and the blue DEF fill location. As we move to the lower section, once again, Goodyear tires and Alcoa rims. Directly over the axle, once again, close-up of the side-facing emergency warning light. Let's move to the rear of the axle where you'll find Scba bottle storage location. As we move inside the compartment, 2 Scba bottles with retaining straps, also the silver ultra low sulfur diesel fill location. This is directly over the rear axle, adjustable shelf, once again, roll-up compartment door, and LED lighting. We're to the rear compartment where you'll find adjustable shelf, and at the lower portion, a pull-out tray, once again, the release mechanism on the lower right-hand side. Let's move around now to the rear of the apparatus. We'll identify a few things. Let's start just under the tailboard area, where you'll find perimeter lighting on the passenger and driver's side, and directly in the center, you'll find an attachment point. Let's move now to the stop, turn, and reverse lights. It's a combination. The top light is an emergency light, stop, turn, and reverse. As we move to the upper portion, you'll find an LED emergency warning light on the very top section. Fold down steps located on the vertical surface to gain access to the step area to go aloft. You'll also find in the upper portion a 2.5-inch rear discharge. Roll-up door located in the very lower section. Directly above the roll-up door, you'll find a few warning labels. Let's go over those next. First, always face the vehicle when climbing. Never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. And then also an entanglement hazard warning. From the lines coming from aloft, there is the possibility of entanglement. And that's why we have those warning labels. As we move to the right, once again, emergency, brake, turn, and reverse light. In the ladder compartment, D handle gains you access. There's a 24-foot 2-section ladder, a 14-foot roof ladder. As we move to the upper portion, directly above those ladders, you'll find pike-poled storage and also a 10-foot folding ladder. There is a backup camera located on the rear section of the passenger side. General view here of the side of the apparatus. Let's move down the passenger side starting at the rear compartments. First, the rear compartment at the rear door, gain access into this location. You'll find an adjustable shelf and also a pull-out tray in the lower section. Same configuration, it does have a release mechanism located on the lower right section of the tray. Just to the rear of the axle, you'll find Scba bottle storage. There are 3 Scba bottle storage locations here with retaining straps. As we move to the center, you'll find an adjustable shelf. As we move to the forward section, you'll find Scba bottle storage for 3 bottles with retaining straps. And as we move down, just to point out, exhaust, extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures, especially during regen. Be cautious where you park your vehicle. As we move to the forward compartment, you'll find an adjustable shelf and then also a tray in the lower section. Once again, release mechanism located on the lower right-hand side of the tray. Let's go ahead and now move to the mid section of the pump. We'll just go just under the running board here. Once again, perimeter lighting located just under the running board. As we move to the panel itself, as we start at the very bottom section, you'll find all of our color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move upward from this location, you'll find on the left a pan door gaining access behind the pump panel. Also the Pierce logo American flag eagle, that's your large diameter pump intake. Large diameter discharge, which is the green discharge, and then also a 2.5-inch discharge. You'll also find cab lift module. There are instructions to raise the cab and then also instructions to lower the cab. There is some caution and also some danger information placard on this actual device because of the movement of that device itself. The lower section is a protected switch for raise and lower and then an activation switch. Lift and turn latch on the large pan door will gain you access behind the pump panel for maintenance. There is also a light within this area for the pump panel. As we move to the mid-cross section here, you'll find crosslays for the 2.5-inch number 1 and number 2 crosslays, also a grab handle and fold-down steps. Let's now move to the cab portion of the vehicle. We'll start in the upper rear section with a side-facing scene light. This is on the rear cab wall. As we move down, you'll find your grab handle and easily accessible latch with a keyed lock for gaining access into the cab area. Step lights. You'll also find the grab handle, which is located on the hinge side, red webbing. As we move inside the cab, the heaters are in the lower section just under the rear-facing seats, and then at the rear wall, you'll find that single-mounted forward-facing Scba seat. General view here looking throughout the cab area. Overhead, once again, you'll find your air conditioner with air conditioning vents, also push on and off white or red lenses. Let's move exterior. Front axle, Alcoa wheels, Goodyear tires, and a sight gauge located in the center axle area. Also, side-facing emergency warning light. This is in between the front and rear door. As we move to the officer location in the stepwell, let's go ahead and move inside into the officer space. You'll find on the A pillar located about the right knee of the officer seat is where you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. As we move to the floorboard, you'll find 2 pedals, first air horn foot control and also electronic siren foot control. As we move up to the seat area, you'll find a ventilation area just under the seat for storage. Lift and turn latch gains you access into that space. In the front dash, you'll find power outlets, both barrel style and also USB. The front officer seat does have an Scba located within it. And as we move now to the exterior A pillar, you'll find the marker turn indicator light, and on the front bumper extension, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. Moving around to the front headlight structure, once again, low and high beam headlights. The high beam is located on the inside. As we move to the lower section face of the front bumper, you'll find an air horn. There are 2 located, 1 passenger, 1 driver. As we move to the center, you'll find running lights located across the very front,
and also a front-facing forward floodlight and emergency warning light on top. Congratulations, Sky Valley Fire Washington, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 35451. If you have any questions regarding your apparatus, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.